Remember when filler used to be the worst thing in anime? Naruto's swing scene again, Gaara's tragic childhood for the 6th time, One Piece dragging us through Long Ring Longland like it was a punishment. We complained about it, we skipped it, and we memed it to death. But now, I kind of miss it. Because somewhere along the way, anime stopped slowing down, characters stopped hanging out, and those weird, unnecessary, kind of pointless episodes, they started to feel like something we don't get anymore. And that's what made me want to look into what filler gave us and what anime might have lost when it slowly disappeared. While filler may have a bad reputation, it wasn't always just recycled animation or off-model character art. It was more of the in-between. It was the episodes that weren't in the manga but filled the world in ways the manga never had time to. Like when Naruto got paired up with Kiba, Shino, and Hinata for some random mission about finding a beetle that could magically track down Sasuke. Or when Rock Lee and Might Guy dragged him into some absurd side quest about the curry of life, both of which were hilarious. And yeah, I'll admit, these episodes didn't push the plot forward, but they made the world feel alive. They gave you moments with characters you didn't know as much about, and made them feel real. They made the village feel like an actual place, not just a backdrop. And I could say the same about One Piece as well. The Straw Hats were always vibing, cooking, fighting over food, playing stupid games. Filler gave them space to breathe, to just exist. And that space, that's where a lot of the heart lived. One Piece has always had this unique energy about it. Sometimes it's epic, sometimes it's dumb, and sometimes it just wants to hang out. That's why its filler never felt completely disconnected. Even the silliest arcs added something to the crew dynamic. Let's take Long Ring Longland as an example. It's where the actual manga content was extended with a lot of filler. And yeah, it was goofy and it stalled the story. But you got to see the Straw Hats participate in these seemingly dumb games. You got to see Luffy go head to head with all sorts of weird characters, and you got that iconic boxing scene with Luffy and Usopp. On top of that, you got Sanji and Zoro arguing over something dumb every 5 minutes. It gave us a moment to pause and really have fun with the crew seeing their dynamics together. Or the G8 arc, which is easily one of the best filler arcs in anime. There was no big villain, no world-ending threat, just the crew stuck in a marine base trying not to get caught. It didn't matter that it wasn't canon, what mattered was the vibe. The world felt real and the characters felt like people you wanted to spend time with. And that's exactly what filler did. It reminded you that this wasn't just a grand adventure, it was a story about the bonds, the arguments, the laughs, everything that made them feel like a family. And let's go back to the Naruto filler for a moment. After Naruto and Sasuke fought in the Valley of the End, the story hit pause. And for a lot of us at the time, that pause felt like an eternity. Dozens of episodes, no Sasuke, no big villain, just Naruto going on missions. And back then, people hated it. They called it useless, skippable, and a waste of time. But looking back now, it was kind of special, because those episodes weren't about the plot, they were about the people. Naruto teaming up with random pairings from the Konoha 11, running the hilarious missions with Lee and Might Guy. We got to see random weird combos you'd never see otherwise. They gave the background characters the spotlight, let them talk, fail, be awkward, and let them feel human. The village felt like an actual village, not just a stage for big fights, but a place where people lived, argued, trained, and tried to move on. And for Naruto, it was the last time he was just a kid trying to be acknowledged. Before the Akatsuki, before the 4th Great Ninja War, just a lonely kid doing his best. It didn't move the story forward, but it helped us sit with the characters before everything changed. But filler didn't just disappear by accident, it got pushed out by the current state of the anime industry. Back in the 2000s, shows like One Piece and Naruto ran every week, no breaks, no seasons, just constant episodes, whether the manga was ready or not. That meant filler was a necessity. Studios needed time to let the manga breathe, so they added in between arcs, detours, and downtime. But today, anime doesn't really work like that anymore. Most modern shounen is seasonal, you get 12 episodes, maybe 24 if you're lucky. Then it goes on a break again for a year or 2 or even 3. And yeah, this new model gives us higher animation quality, better pacing, tighter stories, but it also means that there's no room to breathe. Every episode has to matter, every scene has to push the story forward. I, for example, would have loved to see the Jujutsu Kaisen trio of Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara get more time just being people, hanging out, screwing up a mission, or even seeing combinations of characters we don't get to see together often complete these missions. Even simply seeing Yuji and Todo's hilarious interactions more often would have been nice. And so filler didn't just die because we hated it, it died because the industry has changed. And when filler disappeared, we didn't just lose those extra episodes. We lost the downtime, the weird, quiet, nothing really happens moments that made these worlds feel real. We lost the chance to see characters just exist, to laugh over lunch, to mess up missions, to interact with people they normally wouldn't. We lost a bit of that emotional build-up, the slow bonding that made the big moments hit even harder. Or when you see the Straw Hats argue, joke, and struggle with small things, their loyalty feels more real when it matters most. Modern anime just doesn't give us that to that same level. And it's not because the stories are worse, it's because the format doesn't allow it anymore. And yeah, the fights are gorgeous, the animation is peak, the stories are amazing. But sometimes I don't want another high stakes battle. Sometimes I just want to see what Naruto and his friends get up to during a random day in the Hidden Leaf Village. And yeah, I'll be the first to admit, filler was never perfect. A lot of it was really just padding, waiting week after week for a new episode, only to get one that didn't move the story forward. It was frustrating. In fact, a part of me is still happy that some of the more aimless filler is now gone. But as well, now that these long-running shows have ended or are nearing their end, looking back at them as complete stories, not just as weekly 20-minute episodes, you start to realize something, that some of that filler truly deserved to exist. Because it gave us something that's hard to find in anime today, which is space. Space for characters to feel like people, space for moments that didn't matter to the plot but mattered to us. And now that it's gone, I don't just notice what we gained, I notice what we lost. Yeah, the newer shows are faster, prettier, and cleaner, but sometimes they just feel a little bit more colder. That's why I kind of miss the time when anime gave us the time to linger, to waste an episode, to spend time with the world, not just the story. Because in the end, filler didn't always elevate the story, but it expanded it. It gave us moments that didn't need to be epic to be meaningful. And maybe that's what I miss the most about filler episodes. And with that, I'll wrap up this video. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for their support on my first ever video. I read through all the comments and really appreciate everyone who liked and subscribed. I really hope you all enjoyed this video as well, and I'll see you all next week.